Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the New Japan Save. Welcome back to Northbud. I feel like, I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but every time I try and intro a video and say the word gentleman, I always botch it. I've just I've noticed that in the last few videos, but it's really been playing on my mind and I haven't vocalized it yet. So yeah, apologies for not being able to say the word gentleman, but one thing that I can do, that I have been doing to a very degree of success is obviously booking New Japan. Today, or in this video, we have perhaps our most important video yet. I know the 2 videos ago, the Naito versus Jericho, that was a very important show, our best show yet. But we've got big things upcoming. Our first show of the video is going to be Night 10, in which we get the semi-finals? The semi-finals of the New Japan Cup out of the way. We have Evil versus Kota Ibushi and Tomohiro Ishii versus Minoru Suzuki. And the second show of the video, we're going 2 for 2, will be our finale. Or the tour finale, of course. Final? The end of the tour. It'll be the New Japan Cup final, the last match. So yeah, all of the videos, all the New Japan videos, have been building up to this moment. So I'm excited. I'm excited. We don't have too much admin stuff. I always start the video with admin stuff, and I'm not really a big fan of doing the admin stuff. But I feel like it's important to keep you guys up to date with what's going on. Much like the last video, we don't have too much to talk about. The only major thing that I can think of is I've made some changes to the inner circle. You might notice I got Kenta in there. I'm not sure if I put this in to the video a couple videos ago. That was originally Shibata's spot. Obviously, we released Shibata, and Kenta wasn't happy, so we decided to make Kenta a bit more happy by giving him one of the chief enforcer roles. He can do well there because he is a tough bastard. We also, you might notice, we've got no morale officer. Up until recently, we did have Hiromu Takahashi as our morale officer, but backstage it wasn't working. Basically, I cut out in the video. I just do the shows. I don't do any of the venue picking, the night off picking. You don't see any of that. But there was always backstage notes that said so and so isn't happy with Hiromu's team building. So and so isn't happy with Hiromu Takahashi trying to be too out there. So I figured, it's not working. It's just pissing people off. And we're already struggling enough as it is with people being unhappy. So I decided to remove Takahashi in the role and just have no morale officer. I might add someone in later. I might not, because it just seems to cause more harm than good. But no more morale officer. Hopefully that means people get on a bit more backstage. While I'm here, you know what? We'll check out the backstage. We've got a lot of people on negative influence, which is just because of the Shibata situation. It was a really bad time, and I had 3 open forum meetings for the New Japan Cup nights, just to try and raise people's relationship. But Kenta providing food, backstage rules, the shows have been really successful, which is good for everyone. Overall, the morale's good, but we just have a few people who have some minor grievances. But that's all. That's all for the backstage stuff. That's all for the admin stuff. I'll stop talking about the pointless things that you don't care about, and we'll get into the action. Night 10, let's go. And we are back on the pre-show as usual, starting things with a bit of, high-flying action. To be fair, I was going to have this as a high spots match, but first of all, the crowd need to be warmed up. If it's on the pre-show, it's not going to work. But also, I wasn't quite sure how these two were going to perform. This is the debut of Alejandro. And you probably know who he is now. But back then, I don't think he'd even established the Alejandro gimmick. He was still going by his real name, which I believe is Kohei Fujita. I might be wrong. That I might have botched that as well. But I know I wanted to bring in some Wrestle One guys. Obviously, around this time, Wrestle One is unfortunately closing its doors. Alejandro was one of their last guys. So I thought bring him in, give him his future gimmick of Alejandro, and here he is in his first match with Kyle Fletcher in a 37 for someone who's debuting is very, very good. So I'm not mad at it. Kyle Fletcher also seemingly getting a bit better at 29, almost into the 30s. We still need to keep Aussie Open on the pre-show, but both of them seem to be making waves and gradually getting the ratings up. But yeah, keep eyes on Aussie Open, and with results like that, keep eyes on Alejandro. We'll probably keep him on the pre-show for a little bit until he kind of finds his footing and we think of something new to do with him. But speaking of Wrestle One, we have also brought in Takanori Ito, and in his first match he faces Yota Tsuji, both big beefy blokes, both heels as well, so it's kind of a weird dynamic, heel versus heel, but I feel like both of these guys can do really well. Ito with the 33 is doing okay. Yota Tsuji still struggling. We definitely need to contemplate, getting him out on excursion. Probably sending him to CMLL, but I'm not sure if he'll do well. CMLL come back and do shit. I'm not sure. I need to do some investigation. But both of the guys we've brought in from Wrestle One, I didn't want to bring in everyone from Wrestle One because it's a bit cheap. I don't want to be like, hey, we've taken over Wrestle One. No, I just kind of want to bring in guys selectively. I like both of the guys, and I feel like I've got a plan for Takanori Ito, but he needs to get his kind of grades up a bit. He needs to get that performance up a little bit before we start rolling them out. 33 isn't the best match, dragged down by Tsuji, but it's a pre-show match, so we can't be too mad at it. And the last match of the pre-show, it could have been a lot better. We've got two of our vet young lion parents in Yuji Nagata and Yuya surname versus Gabe Kidd and Hiroyoshi Tenzan. I mentioned last time we got the name Kid Hero for Gabe Kidd and Tenzan, just kind of coming across as like a super good guy, like hero, go get him kind of name, which I kind of like. It doesn't fit Gabe Kidd at all, but I find the irony quite funny. And Yuji and Yuya, I've just went for both of their names. But Kid Hero defeat Double Y with Tenzan obviously pinning the young lion. Both young lions are hovering around the 30s. We'll definitely take. And Nagata and Tenzan both got the same rating. Both Yuya was really off his game, so I believe he can get into like the mid 30s, like 35, when he's on his game. But obviously he wasn't today. and Tenzan seemed off his game but still kicked ass. I believe Tenzan can get in the 50s. But one of our better pre-show matches, and I'm really invested in this kind of system of Young Lion and Vet. So we'll see where that goes. But for now, that's the pre-show done. Main card, here we come. And starting off the main card of the show with a bang, I'm really hype about this show that we've got booked. I feel like it can be really well, provided everything goes to plan, which usually is not the case. But we're staying positive. It's going to be great. Starting off, we've got Suzuki-gun versus Roppongi Represent, Taichi, Zack Sabre Jr., and Despy versus David Finlay, Juice, and Rocky Romero. These two stables have kind of been going at it a little bit, which is leading to what was announced on the last show, a match between Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr., Dangerous Tekkers, against Finn Juice, David Finlay, and Juice Robinson for the tag titles. So this is just a kind of continuation leading up to that match, which will be happening later in this video. Suzuki-gun, yet again, getting one over on Roppongi Represent. Zack Sabre Jr. submitting Rocky Romero in a banging match. A 63 to start off the show. It'll definitely get the crowd hype. Already at a 48, this can be a really good fucking show. Despy and Taichi and David Finlay were all in the 40s. A little bit concerning. Juice Robinson didn't even do that well. We're wanting more for Juice. But Zack Sabre Jr. Is giving us a reason to put a lot of trust in him with ratings like that. I also like to see all this green shit at the bottom. Good chemistry calling matches together. That's been consistent throughout the entire save. I just haven't mentioned it. Our commentators are doing really well. Miho Abe at ringside doing good work. Her and Taichi, great chemistry. Yeah, you love to see it. You love to see it. And you love to see a good opening match. This was our technical match, which might be why some people aren't doing as well as we would hope. But it didn't negatively affect the match too badly. Next up, we have a promo in which it's a backstage. It's one of our more peaceful backstage promos in which Jay White and Kazuchika Okada are just kind of they're just talking shit to each other. Like, there's no Bullet Club interference. There's no punches thrown or anything. It's literally just both of these guys want their hands on Jay White. Okada's obviously pissed. They don't want their hands on Jay White. They want their hands on Will Ospreay. I think I botched that. They both want their hands on Will Ospreay. Okada. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Okada wants his hands on Will Ospreay because he betrayed Chaos. Jay White wants his hands on Ospreay because Ospreay rejected the Bullet Club. And they decide that fair's fair. The only way to decide who gets the match with Ospreay at the night's end, or at the tour's end, sorry, at the Bullet Club, the New Japan Cup final, is to have a match tonight. Next, Jay White versus Kazuchika Okada. Winner faces Ospreay on the next show. A good segment. Okada doing well. Jay White doing well. I feel like Jay White's Japanese is improving because he's no longer getting noted down for it. Crowd got that angle hotter as well. Thanks to the guy who commented on the last video, letting me know that language, we can't enroll them in a course or anything like that. They just pick it up the more they work in Japan or they work for the company. So thanks to that guy. I really appreciate every comment. But yeah, shout out that guy. Moving on is the match in question. Probably going to be our best match of the night. Slightly overshadowing the New Japan Cup, which sucks. But I needed to build up to the Ospreay match. But Okada versus Jay White. Okada defeats Jay White with a Rainmaker in around 22 minutes. They burn the fucking house down. White hot crowd near in the end. Jay White 69. Okay then. And Okada with a 79. Both guys killing it. Not as good as the Jericho Naito match, which is strange because Jericho Naito had no build. They had no storyline going into it, whereas this one does. But I should be complaining. We've had two banging matches in the space of 3 nights. So good. New Japan's on the up and up. After this, Will Ospreay does not do. He needs a script. I keep forgetting that. But it's a fairly okay segment. Okada stands doing the Rainmaker pose in the ring when William Ospreay he comes out. He's dressed in a suit, not in Bullet Club black and white, not in Chaos yellow and red, in a nice snazzy little suit. And he approaches and goes kind of face to face with Okada. And it looks like they're gonna throw down, but kind of a few young lions and referees kind of get in the way and kind of separate them before any drama can happen. Just kind of building hype for the upcoming match later on in this video. I'm in love with this Okada, Will Ospreay, Jay White storyline. All three guys are so talented. All three guys are now in AEW, and I wish they were being used better. But yeah, this is gonna I hope you're enjoying this storyline because it's gonna kick into high gear soon. But yeah, Okada, Will Ospreay separated by the crowd. Next up, in oddly enough, a better match than earlier on. Kota Ibushi taking on Evil in the first semi-final of the New Japan Cup. Kota Ibushi beating Evil in around 16 minutes. Both guys doing great. Ibushi with an 80, Evil with a 58. Damn, I was so tempted. You know the 4 guys we've got in the New Japan Cup. I was so tempted to push Evil straight out of the gate and have him, even if he didn't win the New Japan Cup, have him like in the finals. But his in-ring performance isn't good enough to warrant that. But getting him to the semi-finals, it still gives him a bit more credibility. And losing to Kota Ibushi, no, everyone can lose to Kota Ibushi. Kota Ibushi's insane. So he doesn't lose too much credibility. But he does not win. Kota Ibushi is our first finalist for the New Japan Cup. And he will be facing Minoru Suzuki. Minoru Suzuki defeated Tomohiro Ishii in 18 minutes by submission. This was our main event. This was our steal the show moment. Obviously, part of the New Japan Cup storyline. Both guys in the 60s. In terms of rating, that's not me dissing them because they're old. But both guys visibly tiring towards the end. We might have put this on for too long. I feel like it could have done the same as last one and gone around 16 minutes. But, you know, it was still a banging match. It's 71. We can't complain. Every match this show has been fucking banging. So I'm over the moon. I just hope our next night can compete. But the New Japan Cup final is sorted. Minoru Suzuki will take on Kota Ibushi. And to top off the night, I think that's our best segment ever on this channel. An 87, Kota Ibushi and Minoru Suzuki both are a little battered after their matches, but Minoru Suzuki's currently in the ring. He's got his towel round his neck, looking badass as usual. And Kota Ibushi comes out. He might have an ice pack on his neck or what have you, and they kind of go face to face. But they go face to face, so the camera is where, and take a standard WWE setup, where the announce desk would be. That's where the camera guy is. Two guys, there. The shot is them. Then up the ramp, Naito is kind of holding both belts and kind of just staring at them, and that is how we go off air. Definitely building tension, building some suspense for the eventual matchup between Ibushi and Suzuki, and Naito obviously kind of scoping out who he will be facing at Sakura Genesis. But yeah, what a way to end the night. And what a night overall. A 74. I think that's our new best show. I believe that's only our second in the 70s, but it was a hell of a show. We had hell of a matches. I'm hoping, I feel like we went all out for this one. So I'm hoping that the next night, our tour end is equally as good. Let's see. Night 10 is done. The New Japan Cup is almost done. The final is coming up. The final is right now. And here we are, finally at the end of this tour. It's been a long one. It's been a dramatic one. I'm fairly happy with the show we've got planned. It might not do as well rating wise as the last few, but I feel like we have some major things going on. It might not do as well simply because of the size of it. Like usually we only have 5 matches and a couple pre-show. Now we've got, I believe, 9 matches on the card, so it's a long one. Some are filler, some are very storyline driven. It might not do well, but this will be the hallmark for the future. On whereabouts we should expect a 2-round show to be. But enough of that waffle. We're on the pre-show. Alejandro debuted yesterday. Debuted in the last night versus the old reliable pre-show guy Theoman. Alejandro, I figured he would do better than Theoman. I was wrong. Theoman with a 36, Alejandro with a 34. It's an alright starter, but Alejandro and Theoman did not seem to click at all, and it made for an awkward bout. Sucks because I had plans for both of them, but it is what it is. It's just another pre-show match. Both of these guys, I feel like 40 is the cut-off point. Like the cut-off, okay, you're good enough to be on the main show now. So they're both getting there. They might not stay on the pre-show for too long. If they can continue to impress, that is. However, the next match, this is our big pre-show match. We have all members of the new foundation, Ross and Marshall Von Erich, Brian Pillman Jr. and Davey Boy Smith Jr. taking on kind of a heel tag team collective. Chris Ridgway, Luke Jacobs, Atsushi Kotoge, and Seiki Yoshioka. With the new foundation, the good guys getting the win. Davey Boy Smith submitting Seiki Yoshioka. A variety of results here. Davey Boy Smith is in the 50s. You love to see it. Chris Ridgway in the 40s. Kotoge in the 40s, almost in the 50s. We definitely need him out of the pre-show. But Pillman Jr., 32. The Von Erichs both got 36. Yoshioka with a 39. He did awfully, Seiki Yoshioka. On our first show, we had him in a tag match, and we were expecting good things from him, and I swear he was in the 20s. So to see him now with the 39, things are changing. And Luke Jacobs with the 33, I'm not sure if it's the fact that obviously there'll be limited involvement. People get tagged in, tagged out. You don't get to see too much of the ring, especially in a match only lasting 40 minutes. But all guys pulled their weight. I feel like all guys will probably stay in the pre-show for a little while. In fact, that's completely wrong. Not all guys, most of them. Brian Pillman Jr. will be on the main card. Chris Ridgway will be on the main card. And Kotoge will soon be on the main card. We need to check if he's a junior heavyweight or not. I think he's meant to be, but he might be too heavy in this save. But that's all for the pre-show. Just 2 matches because we have a lot to get into. And why not just get into it? Let's go. Our first major show starts with a fucking hell of a match. A 71 rated match to start the night. Kenta versus Shotaro Ashino. Kenta getting the win. We kind of, this storyline struggled a bit between Kenta and Ashino. Obviously, it was meant to be Kenta and Shibata. It was always going to lead to this match, though. Shotaro Ashino was just the kind of stand-in. But both guys performed excellently. 74 from Kenta, 68 from Ashino. Both guys did great. And the unfinished business storyline ended. It was meant to end, not right now. I'll explain later. But hell of a match to end it on. A 71 match was a little too short for an important match in the eyes of the audience. That's fine. It still didn't negatively affect the crowd or the wrestling. 71 wrestling, 62 crowd. Hell of a match. Both guys doing well. And to put the stamp on the storyline, this was meant to be when the storyline ends. I messed up. My apologies. But when Kenta and Ashino first faced off a couple weeks ago, they kind of had a tense pull apart in which they kind of stared each other down. This is very similar. They stare each other down and it ends in a lovely little handshake. Shotaro Ashino and Kenta seemingly earning each other's respect and forming a little team. These two will be, I can say now, these two will be going forward as a tag team. It was obviously meant to be Kenta and Shibata. Shibata was meant to turn and be like a heel, joining Kenta. That didn't happen. So we have Kenta and Ashino shaking hands, and they will become Takeover. It was meant to be Shibata. But I could think of another name. I might think of another name. Because it was meant to be Takeover and it was meant to be Shibata. We'll think of it. There won't be Takeover. I'll give them I'll get my brain working. But Kenta and Shibata, their little mini feud is over, and they are now on good terms. Next up is kind of the big multi-man matchup with the Bullet Club, as probably expected, taking on Chaos. Bad Luck Fale, Tama Tonga, Doc Gallows, and Carl Anderson taking on the Chaos Collective of Hiroki Goto, Yoshihashi, Robbie Eagles, and Toru Yano. everyone seemed to perform. Bad Luck Fale is the worst with a 48. Goto, I believe, is the best with a 65. It's pretty much where everyone was expected to be. Match was a little too short in the eyes of the audience. Yet again, that's popping up, which sucks. But it was Robbie Eagles. If you're mad at this match, blame Robbie Eagles. He didn't have the stamina to go any longer than 12 minutes. Please don't take that out of context. But yeah, we tried to book it for, I believe, 40 minutes, but Robbie Eagles was like, nah, bro, we can't do that. So it sucks. But the end of the match comes when Yoshihashi is in the ring with Carl Anderson, and Robbie Eagles turns on Yoshihashi. He turns on Chaos. We'll have kind of Yoshihashi kind of crawling to make a hot tag to Robbie Eagles, and Robbie Eagles just jumps off the ring, looks at the kind of downtrodden Yoshihashi, and just walks away, turning his back on Chaos and turning heel. The turn was a complete success. You love to see it. Robbie Eagles is now an evil bastard. Next up, in kind of a, it's both semi-finalists from the New Japan Cup had nothing to do this show, so I figured we'll put them in a match with each other, kind of wild brawl style. Evil taking on Ishii. Evil defeating Ishii in around 15 minutes. I was expecting this to do better, but match again a little too short. Injury that Ishii worked through took a toll. It says the injury Ishii worked through took a toll, although less than it would have done for most people. Is that the game just saying, all right, Tomohiro Ishii is a mad bastard? Like, he's a tough motherfucker. Because if so, hell yeah. But a calf strain, that sounds like a bad one. Yeah, hopefully it can be worked through. Hopefully it's not a major one. But it doesn't sound the nicest, and obviously affected the match rating. But Evil with his best performance and Ishii with his best performance, so they both done well despite all that was going on, and Evil getting a bit more credibility with a huge win over Ishii. Next segment, Ishii sustained a calf strain. We'll need to see how long that'll take him out for. It has been a grueling tournament. He has just finished the New Japan Cup, so we're not surprised. He's a little bit banged up. Anyway, next up, the tag team titles are up for grabs when Finjuice take on Dangerous Tekkers. I really need to change their name because they're not currently a tag team. They're just Suzuki-gun members. Finjuice take on Dangerous Tekkers, with Finjuice retaining the tag team titles. I can't lie, I was tempted, especially with the results. Zack Sabre Jr. has been putting up an 84. He just got a fucking 84. Like, this guy is so good. So close to putting the belt on him, but I figured, no. Finjuice have only recently won the titles, I believe. Defense number one of the, we didn't want to, this was their first defense. We didn't want to be like, they've just won the titles, they've just lost the titles. So I feel like this was the right decision. Juice Robinson with a 64, you love to see it. Zack Sabre Jr. with an 84, like we mentioned. But David Finlay and Taichi definitely struggling in comparison to their tag partners. Again, the match was a little too short. Strange. The thing is, I've got a couple matches later on in the night which are fairly long. If I end up getting noted down saying, they were visibly tiring, it was too long, I'm going to be pissed because every match so far has been too short. But a 69, the ratings are getting up there, especially after that Ishii Evo match. The last two matches have kind of dinged my confidence, but this one's getting my confidence up. A 69. A 69. And Zack Sabre Jr. Performances definitely helped. Next up, our best match. I believe this outdoes the Naito Jericho match. Will Ospreay takes on Kazuchika Okada. Will Ospreay defeats Kazuchika Okada in 20 minutes following 6:30 senton, following interference from, you see the main man himself, Miro. This is the Will Ospreay master plan. He has a little smirk on his face. The way it's going to go down is Okada's kind of building up steam, and he's prepping, and he's like readying himself, and he's taunting, ready for the Rainmaker. Will Ospreay's like slowly, he's like on a knee, he's slowly getting up, and it's like, okay, Okada's going to hit him with the Rainmaker. We'll have a ref bump or something just before, and then bang, you see Okada just get super kicked in the back of the head, and standing above him in a nice little suit like Will Ospreay had on in the last show is the big beefy, formerly known as Rusev, Miro. I feel like this, you can probably see where I'm going with the Will Ospreay thing, but all in all, he gets a win over Kazuchika Okada, a huge win over Kazuchika Okada in a huge match. Okada with an 86, Will Ospreay with an 82. Fans were turned off with the finish to the match. Yeah, we're not surprised because it's a very traditional kind of. It's not a very traditional kind of finish. It is very interferency, but Miro has debuted and aligned himself with William Ospreay. And just to drive the point home, Will Ospreay is celebrating. He kind of gives Miro a hug, and then out comes Robbie Eagles. He's just turned on Chaos, and he's finished off his match with Chaos. He went backstage, he's put his suit on, and he comes out and shakes hands with Will Ospreay. The Birds of Prey have officially turned their backs on Chaos in the same month, and they've hired, first of all, a tailor, because their suits are banging, but they have also hired some protection in Miro. This segment sucked. In terms of rating of 43, Will Ospreay, I forgot to put him on a script again. All three guys probably aren't, Miro and Robbie Eagles definitely aren't seen as super important to the crowd, but Will Ospreay definitely is, so it would have been Miro and Robbie Eagles' overness that kind of negatively affected the rating. But in terms of storyline, it's a major thing. Will Ospreay, Miro, Robbie Eagles, a new stable? Question mark. A new faction? Question mark. Yes, it's a new faction. In case you couldn't tell. More to come? Question mark. Yes, there's definitely more to come. Anyway, after that huge change, we have the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title up for grabs when Hiromu Takahashi takes on Taiji Ishimori. And a fairly surprising result. Ishimori ends up getting the win in around 15 minutes. Said to this was our high spot match, but Ishimori becomes junior heavyweight champ. It's a bit of a strange decision. You might be confused as to why I've done it. In the coming months, you'll see why I've done it. But all you need to know for now is Hiromu Takahashi has lost the junior heavyweight strap. I feel like Ishimori's been fairly impressive. Not as impressive as Takahashi has. Very few people have. Ishimori has been a solid junior heavyweight. So I figured reward him, give him that big win. I'm glad Takahashi hasn't had any issues. When I was booking the show, he was like, "Whoa, man, I'm not happy with that." He didn't say that. But he wasn't happy with the loss of the title to Ishimori. But we tried to make him as happy as possible, and it worked because he's not kicking off right now. It was a fairly standard match. I was expecting a little better than a 67, but I can't complain too much because we've had some banging matches so far. And they will continue on as in our main event. The New Japan Cup is decided when Minoru Suzuki takes on Kota Ibushi in another banging match. Kota Ibushi defeats Suzuki in around 22 minutes. And Ibushi wins the New Japan Cup. Obviously, this was the New Japan Cup that Evil won in real life, but with us, changing the past, Evil turned evil a few months before, so he didn't need the New Japan Cup win, hence why we had it as Kota Ibushi. I did want Suzuki to win, but I feel like having heel versus heel in Minoru Suzuki versus Naito would have clashed. And you just know the Kota Ibushi match versus Tetsuya Naito is going to kick ass at Sakura Genesis. An 80 rated match, our second best match ever, tied with the Naito Jericho match. It would have been our best match, but obviously the Will Ospreay Okada match beat it out on this very show. So we've had two of our best matches here, which is great. And like I said would happen earlier on, the database was like, hey, all your matches are too short, and they've said, hey, this match is too long. Also, it's done it. I'm getting pissed off because I didn't press all out. I pressed slow build, but that always happens. But whatever. It's a banging match. Ibushi has finally kind of stamped his name in the main event scene. And he will be going on to face Naito. After the match, he kind of is awarded the traditional New Japan Cup trophy. And he's showered in the gold, like confetti. He's looking like a boss when out comes Tetsuya Naito. It says here, Sanada, Shingo Takagi, and Tetsuya Naito attack Kota Ibushi. That is not the case whatsoever. Naito is, like I've said in the past, he's very mob bossy right now. He just sits, he stands holding both titles on top of the ramp, and he kind of signals for his two underbosses or underlings, Sanada and Shingo Takagi, to attack Kota Ibushi, leaving him kind of in a heap on the floor. And Ibushi's kind of crowning moment, the big moment of him winning the New Japan Cup. Nah, it's all about LIJ. It's all about Tetsuya Naito. He is targeting Ibushi. This feud is gonna kick ass, and the match, you just know it's gonna hopefully be our best one yet. But a hell of a segment, a good way to end the show. Naito's performance was good. Ibushi improvised well. And a potential future heel turn for Tetsuya Naito was hinted at. Tetsuya Naito should have turned heel here. I forgot to add that in. That sucks. My apologies. But what a fucking show. A 79 is our best one yet, beating out the last one. I think my memory's fried, but I think, oddly enough, the opener between Kenta and Shotaro Ashino was our third best match of the night. So we really need to reward those guys. But Will Ospreay and Kazuchika Okada kicked ass. It says right there, Empire debut. The United Empire are here, and they currently comprise of Will Ospreay, Robbie Eagles, and Miro. I'm not sure how well Miro's actually going to do in terms of in-ring performance, because he's never worked Puro. He's never worked in a New Japan ring. But at the same time, I didn't want to have him in a pre-show match, because then that kind of spoils the surprise, not only for YouTube, but for, like, as if we were actually booking the show. If we had him on a pre-show and then he debuted, it would be like, well, it's not debut, we've seen him on the pre-show. I've just debuted him, and hopefully he does well. I'm sure he will. But we will. It's definitely a gamble putting Miro in such an important spot. But he works. The United Empire are obviously going to keep the theme of the United Empire. They are all gaijins from all around. You've got the Brit in Will Ospreay, you've got the Aussie in Robbie Eagles, and now you've got the Bulgarian Miro. I almost called him the Bulgarian Brute there. He's not doing that. He's not doing that shtick right now. But we also have TakeOver debut, and we're going to have to add them as a tag team. We're going to have to add the Empire as a stable, and we're going to have to remember to turn Naito heel at the next show. But this show increased popularity in 27 regions, and this show done really fucking well. And I'm very happy with it. I hope you're happy too. This is the end of our first tour for the New Japan Save, and I'm looking forward to where we go from here. The next few months, big things are planned. So I hope you tune in to the next tour. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate all the love you guys have shown the videos. The New Japan Save is doing really well, so I thank you guys so much. But that's it for me in this video. That's it for the New Japan Cup 2020. I hope to see you guys in the next one. I hope you're looking forward to it. Peace.